Howdy ho, everybody. Welcome back to the Eternal Everest podcast. I'm here with my two co hosts, Josiah and JP. Josiah, once again, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I just got back from my long drive from Swanee,
How
so
was it?
there was so much construction. My
Really?
my maps took me on some dirt roads. It was kind of scary. It was
Interesting.
really sketched out. I
Well,
don't know
you're
why I did that,
here
but yeah,
and you're safe. That's all that matters. JP,
barely.
howdy ho. How you doing?
Howdy ho, Mark. I am doing splendid. Thank you for asking, by the way.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, I'm great, by the way. Anyways, in today's episode, we're gonna start off with our goals, how we've been doing this past week.
Yeah.
Little discussion there, and then we're gonna head into our topic of the day, which is what is it, Josiah?
Our topic this week is going to be about how the typical man has become soft in society. So, like, if you think about it, like a lot of the ways men like interact with the world have changed. We're going from like fighting wars and like World War One, World War Two, and we're shifting more into like desk jobs and just sitting on our butts.
Nothing's wrong with that.
Yeah, we just want to see like what this means.
Yeah.
You know what
Okay.
I'm saying? Our opinions on it.
Of
But yeah,
course.
we'll get into that.
So our goals. How are we feeling, boys?
Um, anybody want to go first on anything specific?
JP.
I'm just started hitting the gym past couple of weeks
Epic.
for the first time ever.
Great.
You know,
Epic.
I was a big physical fitness guy until quite recently.
Yeah.
So
He
I'm
now
feeling good.
benches 255.
Oh yeah.
No, it's like 300, Mark, dude.
Really?
255 was like last week.
I mean, yeah, I haven't been to the
Don't
gym with you since
underestimate
last
him.
week, so.
I don't know. I did a couple push-ups this morning. I might have gotten to 325. We'll see though.
That's funny, dude. That's funny.
Okay.
That's great.
That's
though.
epic,
Good to
man.
hear.
Anything else on your goals? You've
Me?
been reading? Yeah.
I have been reading, yes. I've been
Epic.
reading my book, 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson. I got done with Rule 3 last night, so
Epic.
fourth of the way through.
Epic. We can talk about that if you'd like.
That's great.
If not, it
Sure.
doesn't matter. Okay, let's go into it.
Well, I'll just like say the first three rule. Actually, I'll say the rule that I felt was the coolest rule.
Okay.
So, I think the coolest rule was probably rule 1 so far, and the rule is stand back with your shoulders straight, or stand tall with your shoulders straight.
Good posture.
And it was interesting. He goes into the book about how you should have good posture, yes, like your physical posture, but as well as your attitude to everyday life. And basically, the thesis of what he was talking about is if you stand back with your shoulders, straight, and you stand tall and don't slouch, then you'll look like you're winning. Like in society, there's winners
Yeah.
and losers, and people want to hang out with winners, right?
Of course.
So you want to look like you're a winner.
Absolutely.
But if you look like you're a loser and you're hunched over, people won't want to be your friend. And then you won't want to be your friend because, like, no one likes themselves when they're defeated and all sad.
Exactly, man.
Yeah, that's so true. Very true.
And it's scientifically proven that even by just like adjusting your posture or like even telling yourself like, oh, I'm gonna have a good day today, that you statistically are bound to have a better day.
That's epic. Yeah, I had a teacher, Josiah, Pluff. He
Poofy. Big
yeah,
poofy.
Yeah, he told a story about his roommate in college. He was like this dude like got in a suit every morning at like 7 a.m. That's what he wore, and he stood in the mirror and he said, "You're gonna own today. This is your day," like that kind of thing. And he was like,
Oh my gosh.
this dude's weird. Like this dude's like effed up, and like now he's like a billionaire or something."
Yeah,
So,
that's insane.
it's just crazy
I
to think
think
about that.
I saw some like that on Snapchat. It said that, like Jake Paul every single morning, he wakes up, he looks in the mirror, and he says like his goal. He says it 5 times to himself in the mirror.
That's dope. I don't like Jake
It's
Paul.
He said
That's
it
dope.
works for him, but like, hey,
Hey.
he seems
Yeah.
pretty successful.
Yeah, fair.
Just like telling yourself, even if you think you're lying to yourself, like I'm gonna have a good day or like I'm gonna be awesome today. Like it seems kind of like fortune cookie wisdom, but like it's kind of cool to see how like like you want to hold yourself to be like truthful, I guess.
Yeah,
For sure.
very true.
That's sick.
I like
man.
that.
That's sick.
That's the first rule, or the most interesting rule in my book. What do you guys got going on?
So, Josiah, do you want to go or? It doesn't
Yeah, I
matter.
can go.
Okay.
So yeah, I've been doing pretty good on everything so far. Um, Specifically, I'm almost done with my book. I got like 30 pages left.
Sick.
It's called Imagine Heaven. It's a really cool book. It's about people who claim they've died and gone to heaven, and then they like tell their stories of like what they saw.
That's
And
dope.
the other day I was reading and it was talking about people who've claimed they've gone to hell, and so it's like the traumas that they've been through. It was really cool just like reading like what they saw and how they felt and
Yeah.
like the emotions and like that kind of thing and how it like traumatized them like in their life like to
Yeah.
this day. So it's not like it was just like a dream that like they could like forget,
For
but it was
sure.
something that changed their outlook on life. So I thought that was really cool.
So what you're saying
Yeah.
is die and then revive yourself?
I'm not suggesting it,
Okay.
but
Okay.
if you want
Well,
to, I mean, you can.
it's an
You
option.
do you.
It's an option.
Yeah, if you really want to.
I'm sure you're
Um,
you're striving on your physical goals.
yeah, I've actually gained 10 pounds
Sick.
since August,
Sick, bro.
which is great. I'm really excited for that. It has been
Dope.
pretty hard to wake up early. Like
Yeah, me too,
I've been
man.
trying to wake up at like 9, but it usually ends up being like 10.
Yeah, same here.
So
Facts.
Is that all?
I think. I mean, yeah, all the other ones I'm doing fine, and I'm trying to like I'm looking into some small groups that I can join or
Dope. Dope.
that. But yeah,
Dope.
so we'll see. Yeah,
Dope.
we'll see how it goes.
Sick.
Mark, how about you?
I've been so my goals. I'm not saying I'm like slacking, but I'm definitely not doing like completing them to the potential that I should be, if that makes sense. Um,
Yeah, definitely.
and it's been like instead of doing, I'll sit at my desk and I'm like saying I'm doing schoolwork, but I'm just on my phone. So what I kind of
Mm-hmm.
spent the past like 3 days doing is like completely going through like a phone detox. Like I went through my photos. I deleted everything that I didn't need or want. That was like so I kept pictures of me, friends and family, and like
Yeah,
sunsets and stuff like that. I went through Instagram. I'm starting to unfollow everyone because I don't care about them at all. No
yeah,
offense. I take offense. I don't care. Snapchat, same thing. Deleted TikTok, Visco, all these stupid things that I don't need. So that's kind of what I spent this past week doing. Just kind of
yeah.
get rid of all the distractions that I have. So
I think that's pretty great. I think I should probably do that, honestly.
I think it's the move because there's a lot of psychological things and that
Yeah,
kind of arise. A lot of problems that arise when you go on your phone a
it's
lot. But
it's funny. One of my short-term goals was to like reach out to people more.
well,
so,
JP, you were so like you
so
didn't.
I so I'm starting to get more into social media because I was like so not on it
Yeah, I
at
think
all.
yeah, I'm like too much on it, so I'm like, let me get off of
Yeah, yeah,
this.
yeah.
is JP gonna start a
I could be
streak with me?
I could be off at Twitter less though for sure.
Yeah,
Or I could be off Twitter more.
I
I'm on
think if
Twitter all the time, looking
yeah,
at everything and just reading pointless conversations.
yep.
So,
There's no point into reading all that. But there's a lot of problems
JP,
that can arise from being on
yeah,
your
what's up,
phone so
Juice?
much.
we're gonna start a streak, all right?
Okay,
Okay,
It's gonna be
I'm pretty
great.
pumped. Let's go.
he's pumped.
We're gonna get to like 10 or 15 days, all right?
Yeah, I've stopped leaving people unopened because that's what I used to do, but I'm gonna try to be nice and not leaving anyone unopened now.
So
I'm gonna
sweet of you.
Snapchat you right now.
So
Okay,
sweet.
I'm not gonna answer it.
But yeah, I think that's definitely something that y'all. I mean, if you want to look into it, look into it. It's I'm not on my phone
Mm-hmm.
nearly as much. Like I was on my phone probably like 6 hours a day.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
I'm
I'm
trying
not
to
gonna give that.
lower that to like 30 minute. No, I'm just kidding. That's extreme. But like, not 6 hours at least.
Yeah,
So
cut it in
Incremental
half.
changes is the best move. Yeah, for sure.
What I did to help with that is I put the screen time, like the widget, since
yeah,
you can now add widgets, like I
yeah.
put that on my home
I
screen
gotta
so like
do
I
that.
can see how
Oh, that's
much I'm
smart.
spending.
Big brain.
So I
Sick.
put it like right on like the one I use the most, and so I know how much I'm on my phone,
Yeah.
which has helped a lot.
All right. So shall we head into our topic of the day?
Yeah. So, does anyone have anything they want to start out with?
I do not. I mean,
I think I think I came up with this idea. I was watching a video and it was talking about how these guys wanted to challenge themselves in life, so they decided to go on like a trip. They're saying like, "Oh, we want to do this because we believe that the modern man has become soft. Things are just kind of given to us
Mhm.
a lot in life. Like a lot of people don't have, like in high school, won't have like a job.
Yeah.
They'll like a lot of them will just like their parents will give it to them. It's not necessarily like there's nothing wrong with that, but it's like it
It's
could set
different.
you up
Yeah.
with a different like
Definitely.
mentality in
Definitely
life.
different.
And so I was just thinking, like, what do you guys think about that? Like,
Um, I think that makes a whole lot of sense. Like, I feel like a lot of what we see in our culture today, and like what we see a lot of people complaining about, especially with like the millennials and then our generation, we're Gen Z, right?
yes,
Generation
Yeah.
Z.
Yeah, we are.
So like millennials and Generation Z, like especially like developed countries, U.S., we've been characterized as like this generation that is ungrateful,
Yeah.
and I think that comes with us being handed everything to us. We live in a society where like we don't have to go out and get anything. I was gonna start off, and I'll tell this story. My grandfather, he's amazing. He's 80 years old. He plays golf every Friday. He like
Fry.
regularly beats
well played.
people. He's kind of a boss, not gonna lie. My grandfather grew up, and I think it was at the age of 4 his dad passed away, and he
Mhm.
had like 3 brothers and 2 sisters.
Yeah.
So my great grandmother, who lived to be 99, I actually met her many times.
Wow.
Yeah,
Ooh,
she was a
very
tough
cool.
woman, and she raised them on the Ohio River in this huge tent. And like my grandpa tells the story all the time that he would wake up in the middle of the night and they'd have to brush the snow off the top of the tent because the tent would sag in.
Uh-huh.
So they would have to go outside and brush snow off the tent so
Jeez.
it wouldn't
Ooh,
hit their
that's
faces
cold.
because they'd wake up with the tent being on their face.
Dang.
So
That's
I mean, my grandfather went through that, didn't have his father around because his father passed away. At the age of 14, left the house, went down south to Florida to find himself a job, and ever since then, didn't go to college and has been grinding his way, been in the army, been a firefighter, all these things, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
And that is so opposite of any story.
Yeah. Well, I think I forgot what you just said. You said he grinded. That was the word.
Yeah.
So the difference with our generation is I think we are so used to like wanting to multitask and kind of just taking shortcuts of everything. Like we're fast. Like we
Mm-hmm.
we operate faster than previous generations. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's kind of a problem. Like we don't want to grind. We kind of want to take shortcuts in life. And
For
Yeah,
sure.
definitely.
like
Yeah, we kind of just want to have everything like now.
yeah,
So
everyone
like
hand
with our
like
phones and stuff, people are
everyone
just like
go ahead.
people are just kind of like with your phone, you can literally just like look up something and like you'll have it
Exactly.
like at that very moment,
For
and
sure.
things like that. Like you can call someone, you can drive over somewhere, you can go get some food, and it's all like very quick. And I
Yeah.
don't think people want to put the time and effort in
And I
to
think
Mm-hmm.
like
yeah,
your grandfather did.
I think that's gonna hit a lot of people though once we get older. Is they're gonna try to take shortcuts and they're gonna find themselves digging a deep hole, or whatever it
Mm-hmm.
is. And if you can kind of
Yeah,
jump on that now and grind, then you're gonna be successful. So
for sure.
Yeah,
And
that
I feel like sorry to cut you off. I feel
you
like
got it. You got it.
the biggest like one of the biggest divides in our culture is like I keep saying like, dang it. One of the biggest divides in our culture today is the millennials and the Gen Zs, and then there's like the boomer crowd, right? And the boomers really they think that they're ungrateful because all we really have to complain about is, social issues. We don't
yeah,
have our World War II. We don't have our Great
Vietnam
Depression.
War.
We don't have Vietnam.
Yeah,
We don't
exactly.
really have any of that.
For sure.
So whenever there's all these movements online about, people coming out and being more brave with their example, maybe like mental health, right?
Yeah.
It makes everyone seem like soft, which I'm not saying coming out with your mental health is bad, but it's a lot different from previous generations to where, their struggles are much different than ours.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah, very true.
One thing is it's not I don't think it's just what we didn't have like the wars. I think it's what we do have. Like we have our whole lives we've had access to the internet and like we've had social media and we've had phones and all of this. And I think that comes with like, especially social media. Um, you see people on Instagram and you're comparing yourselves to them, and you're like, oh, I want to look like that, or I want to have that car, that kind of thing. And you're just gonna, a lot of people are just gonna sit on their phone and look at all this and think about what they could have, rather than, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
That's just kind of like,
Actually, like, yeah, like actually go out and like work
yeah,
for it and get it.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah. I
So
see
like,
what you're
why
saying
don't
there.
I have that? And it's because you try to take shortcuts. You don't want to grind.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah,
Sure.
that's pretty true.
and it kind of adds a lot of anxiety that people get. So,
Yeah, I think that's definitely something that affects our generation. Like how you said, like with mental health,
mm-hmm.
it's a completely different like battlefield, I guess, like quote unquote battlefield that we're in than let's say people like 60 years ago. It's a lot different. They had a
Mhm.
lot different like trials and things that they had to deal with than we do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think it also goes to what you're talking about, Josiah, is, with the way technology has advanced and everything is becoming automated, the factory
Mhm.
jobs are going away and it's a lot more desk jobs like what you were talking about.
Yeah.
And I saw this interesting quote. Someone said it was like, they said, why has violence been declining? And someone says they think it's been declining because people, have found like that they can compromise over the years and there's less physical altercations because there's so much, like, let's say you're at a company, right? There's so much oversight. You can't get in a fight with someone over, you get fired,
You
you know?
you cut out, JP. You
Yeah,
can't get
you
in a
cut out
fight with
that.
someone, or else you get
Oh,
fired. Is that what you said?
yeah, like you can't
Yeah.
start a fight with someone at like a huge corporation and
Yeah.
punch someone unless you get fired, right?
Yeah. My old assistant manager at Duncan, at the first location I worked at, he like started swinging at someone and got fired.
Dang.
Wow.
And I feel like coronavirus has emphasized this so much is we're going to see a lot less physical altercations, I think, because a lot
Yeah.
more people are going to be working from home.
Well,
I
another
mean,
thing is, so my brother's a Marine, so he kind of like, this is the first thing he thought about with Corona. He was like, this new wave of recruits is going to be the weakest wave ever, because they can't get in contact with them. Like they have
Oh,
to,
wow.
like they have to be maybe not 6 feet, especially the cadets, but or not the cadets, the recruits. I was thinking of our school. Um, they have like, but they can't like touch them at all, you know.
Hmm.
And it's like the drill sergeant, so it's kind of, I don't know, gonna be, especially okay, and even not even before Corona, like they couldn't physically like harm the recruits,
Yeah.
like they could in years past, because people would
Hmm.
complain like, I don't know. Maybe it's technology, the fact that they get they don't get phones. I don't know.
I don't
I don't
know.
know what the reason is.
There's an interesting movie about that. That's called A Few Good Men with like Tom Cruise,
Hmm.
and it's about the army changing. And there's like this old drill sergeant that like is fine with hazing, but the army's new policies are against it. And someone
Yeah.
ends up dead. And it's kind of interesting,
Yeah.
how things change, and some people don't want to go along with the change.
Well, I think
I
the
don't know.
thing is with that is people before would be used to the physical abuse, and
Hmm.
it's like you can take that much easier, especially now, than you could mental abuse. Like now they scream at you a lot more. Well, they obviously scream, but like they would taunt you a lot more nowadays than they would in years past, because they could just physically abuse you instead.
yeah.
Hmm.
So it's kind of like, and I feel like taking it mentally is a lot harder. Maybe it's because
Hmm.
of social media. Maybe it's because we don't have to grind as much. That kind of thing. So,
What do you guys think about social media? Like, do you guys think like it's good for
well,
society?
so
It has its pros
what's
and
this
cons.
guy's name? Y'all talk real quick. I'm finding this guy's name.
Okay. Well, like, cause the reason I bring it up is I was like thinking there's so much negativity surrounded by social media. Whether it's what you were saying, Mark, you feel as if it's a time waster,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but also when it comes to cyberbullying, I mean, we're dealing with a whole new set of problems that previous
Yeah.
generations haven't had to deal with. It's
So,
there's a funny Tyler the Creator tweet that I saw the other day. It was like, why is cyberbullying a thing? Haha, just turn off your phone or whatever.
Yeah.
Obviously, he was probably trolling, but like, it's kind of highlighting the fact that the older generations might think cyberbullying is a mundane problem compared to, physical altercations or like physically getting bullied
Yeah.
at school.
That's
So
definitely. You go,
Chama,
Mark.
I'm gonna butcher this. The former vice president of Facebook. I cannot say his name to save
Gotcha.
my life. He was talking to a group of students at Stanford, and he
Mhm.
said the short-term dopamine-driven feedback loops that we have created are destroying how society works. So basically, Facebook, which is one of the earliest social media platforms,
Mhm.
um, they went into it knowing that they would be abusing people's dopamine levels. Like they knew they were doing something terrible, but they just
Mhm.
kept doing it. So I don't think social media is naturally good, if that makes sense.
Yeah, there's actually a movie on Netflix that somebody just
Social,
told me to watch. It's
social
called The
network.
Social Dilemma,
Is it?
and
It's
it's
cool.
like about that. It's basically like Facebook and Google and like other people are like, yeah, basically, it's kind of like destroying our society. We
Yeah,
know everything about you. We're taking all your information, and people are. It's like destroying people.
yeah. And I think social media, in one way, if it's you connecting with your family and your friends, that's okay. But the fact that you can
Mhm.
follow celebrities and influencers and stuff, it
Mhm.
kind of creates a problem for yourself, big
Yeah,
time,
Yeah.
big
and I
time.
think that depends on the way you look at it because somebody could be like, oh, I look at these influencers and they're inspired to be like them, but
Yeah,
some people might look at them and be like, oh, I can't be that. Like
yeah.
I
There's
would
no
love to
way.
be that, but I'm not going to put in the effort to do that. And so it
Yeah.
kind of discourages them.
Well, the thing is, like, it's obvious. It's so obviously like fake and exaggerated how good their life is. Like that, everyone knows that. But it's like people
Yeah.
still look at it and they say like, "Oh, I want to be like that. I want to live that life."
Mhm. And it just creates such a problem with people. Like, so much depression is talked about. I don't know what, like, the numbers are really rapidly increasing, and I don't know
Hmm.
whether that's people opening up that they have depression or like that
Well, there's
it's actually increasing, that more people are being depressed. But
there's
it's crazy.
uh studies show that there's links between like heavy cell phone use and increased level of depression, anxiety, and all that
And
stuff.
anxiety,
Yeah,
definitely anxiety. Because people will be like, oh, I always need my phone on me.
yeah.
And they'll hear the ring and they're like, oh gosh, what happened?
There's
I was
I think it was 73% of people who like if they lose their phone, they get like panic. That's kind of
yeah.
crazy to think about. Like
Yeah.
if you lose your phone in your bed and you're like, "Where's it? Where's it?" 73% of people will like go into like hardcore panic mode because they lost their phone.
Yeah. Scary.
No, stupid.
I think I think I would panic
Yeah, I
because
would.
it's the most expensive thing I own, and
That's
I don't want to lose it. Not
that's
because
true.
like I can't live without it for the 10 minutes I don't have it.
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah. You just don't have to pay for a new one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to have to pay for a new phone
Yeah.
because that's tough. But going back on topic, talking about like how it's made our society softer and like men softer, I'd say going with like the whole like mental health thing. Oh, people opening more about up and talking about like toxic masculinity and like the culture, the locker room culture of hide your
Yeah.
feelings type deal
Mhm.
has made the like older generation and mainstream conservatives, like tough guys, I guess you would not even conservatives, just the tough guys of society be like, oh, that's stupid,
Yeah.
like toxic
Yeah. Very
masculinity
true.
doesn't exist. But I mean, like, what do you guys think about it? There was like this commercial, this Gillette commercial that got a lot of slack, and because it was saying like, oh, men should be better men and shouldn't deal with people being violent or whatever.
Yeah.
I watched
And,
that commercial. I thought the commercial was kind of inspiring. Like it was like telling you to
yeah.
be a better person, but
Uh-huh.
I think it can be taken the wrong way,
Yeah. Was that the
which they
one?
probably should have considered.
Was it the Boys Will Be Boys one?
Yes, it's the
Okay,
boys will be boys
I've seen
led
that one.
torch that
Yeah,
really people really got mad about. And went back and rewatched it the other day, and I was like, this isn't that bad. Like, why was
yeah,
everyone so mad about this? Because at the heart of it was a message that we shouldn't we shouldn't let like our new sons grow up in a generation where they think it's okay to like end things with physical violence.
yeah.
I don't know where I stand on that
I don't
because
know
I
either.
feel like I feel physical violence. Obviously, it's not good.
Yeah, but it's good to toughen you up and build you
It's
to
a
be a
good
better
learning
person.
factor. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know what type of parent I'll be. We'll get there
Yeah.
when that day comes.
Hopefully, yeah.
It could be
Um,
scary.
But I might be the type of parent that just lets my kids
I might be the
hash things
same.
out,
Yeah.
lets
Yeah.
them learn, unless they're seriously going to hurt someone or someone else.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's when you step in. But
Or it's like teaching your kid through experience instead of like rules.
mhm.
Yeah.
So instead of like telling them to wear sunscreen, let them get the sunburn and then they'll always wear sunscreen.
Very true.
That's what my mom
You know
told
what I'm
me
saying?
when it comes to paying for dentist bills. I used to be terrible at brushing my teeth and flossing. It was like one of those things where I don't know why. It's just something that
You
wasn't
just
on
didn't
like
do.
it wasn't something that I was like doing.
Well, JP,
And then my mom
none of the cool kids did that, so that's probably why.
probably why. Sure. But
You
I
are
ended
the
up
cool
having to
kid.
pay for some cavity bills, and I was like, "Oh, this is expensive. There's
Yeah.
consequences to my actions." And then now I take really good care of my teeth. So I don't know.
Big brain.
Big brain. I don't know. Would we let our kids fight each other? Who do you think would win? Whose kid would win?
My kid would win.
Yeah,
Your
Mark.
kid would win the fight?
I mean, listen,
Mark
man.
doesn't have the wingspan.
Listen,
True.
I'm 6'8", 295 pounds of pure muscle. That's pure genetics, okay?
That is
Like,
cap.
no, it's not,
Mark
dude.
doesn't even work out.
I don't even work out. That's pure genetics, okay?
Pure genetics. Your baby just comes out of the womb ripped.
Who was that? It was like it was some NFL player, like some running back. He was like 4 and he was already jacked. You know
That's
what I'm talking
funny.
about? It was awesome.
I don't know who you're talking about. It's
That's
probably
what, that's
Derrick
what
Henry or something.
I think it might have been actually.
Actually,
Yeah.
that's funny. Derrick Henry is a beast.
He is a
Anyways,
beast. I think I would. So me as a parent, I want my kid to be tough. You know, I don't want my kid to be like
Yeah.
a little sissy boy. No offense to sissy boys out there. I'm sure you're great people. But like, I think the boys will be boys thing is okay, but also it shouldn't be like people complain about that, but like that I don't think that's the biggest problem. I think there's a line that you have to find the balance somewhere.
So I
Between-
think
Go ahead.
yeah, find a balance. Yeah, I this is what it just reminded me of. The whole reason why the boys will be boys line is controversial is because it was talked about as well as sexual harassment.
Yeah,
and
that's
stuff.
yeah.
So when people talk about toxic masculinity and how it needs to end, there's like different definitions, and that's why people get mad at each other because they
Mhm.
can't agree on a definition.
Very true.
I feel like most mainstream society today can agree that sexual harassment is bad.
Yeah.
And, rape,
I would
obviously
hope so.
rape is bad,
I would hope so. Yeah.
and that's what they were talking about
Yeah.
when a lot of people on Twitter or Instagram were saying, "Oh, boys will be boys needs to end," because it was kind of a nonchalant way of looking at I don't know, like a man whistles at like a woman walking by down the street.
Yeah.
How that shouldn't be tolerated because it, furthers the whatchamacallit culture of
Of sexual
sexual harassment.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
in the
that makes
commercial, looking back on it as without the context, I was like, it's just two kids fighting on the ground and them saying boys will be boys. What's the problem?
Hmm.
I think it's
I don't
more
know.
just like play wrestling. Like everyone did that as a kid.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
that's okay, but
Obviously,
I don't know. I think there needs to be two separate like sayings for that because I think the boys will be boys as far as like being tough is okay, but then obviously sexual harassment is not. So
Yeah,
Mhm.
the fact
definitely.
that that's grouped together kind of sucks, but
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
But it's also saying like play wrestling's okay, but you shouldn't be like walking around school swinging at everyone who
Yeah.
like gets in your way.
Yeah.
So there's like a limit to each thing. So
Mhm. For
We'll see.
sure.
We'll
Mhm.
see. The time we have kids, I think the standards are going to be a lot different. There's going to be a lot of rules. There'll be
Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
so it's
One
going
thing
to
that
be
I read
really
about how fast the culture's shifting. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's shifting so fast because you want to talk about any topic, but I was making a joke with my friend the other day that it's the cool thing to be an activist,
Yeah.
and it's not like I disagree with a whole lot of movements and at their core what they are, but it's the cool thing to be an activist. It's the cool thing to post whatever on social media because then you're with the crowd, you're with what's new and hip. But following the mob is dangerous sometimes, man. And I don't want to be just some person in a crowd that's like chanting whatever the crowd's saying, because if they chart, like, at first they're chanting something that's reasonable, but then they start chanting something else and it's scary
Yeah.
sometimes.
I want to dive deep into that another episode. I think when we talk about dopamine, I'm gonna be so excited because that's like I think that's one of the biggest like problems is people are like companies are abusing our dopamine levels. But I want to talk
Well,
about how
um,
how people think that if you just donate or if you just post something on Instagram, you're actually making a difference. And no one
mhm,
nowadays wants to volunteer, wants to actually go out there and make a difference. Protesting is different. It's not volunteering.
mhm,
And I
yeah.
think that's a big,
sure.
big problem. Is it's just people donating, but where does that money go? You don't know unless you actually
Yeah,
volunteer.
time is
Especially from
valuable.
organizations.
Yeah,
And if you're donating to organizations that you don't know a lot about, you could be
exactly.
supporting something that you might not actually
Yeah,
fully
but if
support.
it's the cool thing to do, then everyone's gonna donate. It
Mhm,
sucks,
for
but
sure.
Because there have been some organizations recently that, sure, like their motto might be like something I support, but if you go in and like read what all their values are and the other things that they support, you're
or
like,
where their
whoa,
money goes.
Mhm.
you're like, I'm definitely not supportive of this because it's not actually helping the
We won't
community.
name names, but I think we all three know which ones we're
Yeah, we're not
talking
getting
about.
I'm
that.
very
Yeah,
sure that we're all
yeah.
we're not gonna get political.
No,
No one cares what we have to say about that
exactly.
topic.
We're straight white males.
Anyways,
Anyways, why
Go
the
bigger
hell?
than
something I
that.
wanted to ask you guys is okay. Let's
That's
think
not a
for a minute.
question, JP. It's not a
Wait,
question.
you want to get
Correct.
into
That
it?
wasn't a question. Thanks for telling me,
Yeah,
Mark.
you're welcome.
What I wanted to lead with was, do you think it's good or bad to show emotion?
I think it's good in certain contexts.
I
Okay.
think it's good to show emotion, but there's also an extent where it's like too much.
Yeah.
So
What
you
would be an
shouldn't be.
example of too much?
So let's say like you're sad.
Mhm.
You could you're at school. You're sad. Feel like crying. You could be like, hey, can I go to the bathroom real quick? I'm not having a good day, and
Mhm.
go cry in the bathroom. But you could just sit in the back of the class and scream, cry, and disturb the entire class. Like
That's.
that's
I think it's obviously too much.
That
Yeah.
is quite distracting, yeah. That and
it's
it's
Um.
like
embarrassing as well.
Yeah.
yeah.
Or think about.
Goes
I
along with.
think if you visually like, if you're wearing a hoodie and you're not talking to anyone day, and you're usually like outgoing, and like one day you're just
Mhm.
like, no, I'm not talking. I'm in a bad mood. I think that's like too much too. I think there's no reason to like publicly be emotional, but then when like if I'm talking to y'all on Discord or
Mhm.
whatever or in person, then I'm gonna like bring it up, like whatever's bothering me, kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. I'm
I
I
think
think.
glad.
it is good to show emotion though.
I
Yeah,
think
because
yeah.
I was
Go ahead.
I was just thinking about showing emotion, because the whole deal with also toxic masculinity is like, where when people say that culture, not culture, when people say men are becoming more soft, I think it goes along with men are showing more emotion and being more okay with opening up about certain things.
Yeah.
And I think that's the good part
Yeah, for
of
sure.
Yeah,
100%.
definitely.
sure.
I think it's
And
certain context is okay.
yeah, for sure.
Hmm.
Because
Personally.
there's something interesting that I heard. I forget who said it, but they said one of the best things that you can do is to be the strongest person at your father's funeral, if you're like a man.
Yeah.
And it's not so much, he what did he say? He said something like, it's not useful to anyone in that situation to cry. And it wasn't like he was being harsh, but he was like, one of the best things you can do for everyone and the people around you is to be strong in that moment, and be reassuring to everyone else around you, and then afterwards process it by yourself. What do you like? I don't even know how I would react in situations like that. I'm a pretty stoic person. I don't really get in my feels too much, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't know.
that's interesting because that's kind of how I viewed my dad when my grandfather passed away. That's how I saw
Mhm.
my dad react. Was he's not very emotional either, but like he was like obviously when he passed away, when he heard the news, he was like devastated,
Mhm.
choked
Yeah.
line kind of thing. But
Mhm.
and then when he at the funeral, it was in Dutch, so I couldn't understand it. But he didn't like tear up. He seemed. I mean, he might have teared up a little bit, but he didn't. Oh, train. He didn't like go like full out cry.
Yeah.
So he tried to be tough, I guess. Which seeing him, if he cried, I don't know how I would have pictured that in my mind. But he didn't. He wasn't like not crying, like he was, perfectly
Mhm.
okay. But he was. There was a little bit of like I saw emotion in him, which was kind of like it
Mhm.
just felt real in that moment. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I don't know how I feel about the not crying thing.
Sorry about the train.
It's okay, man. No worries.
Pretty cool. I like trains.
I think it is good to show some emotion, but yeah, like JP was saying, it doesn't help anyone to sit there and like bawl your eyes out
Yeah.
at your father's funeral.
No,
But I
definitely not.
definitely think that you should process those emotions in like an environmental friendly area. So on Discord, us talking, or in your small group, but you shouldn't sit at the funeral and like yell at people out of
Yeah.
anger. Like,
Because how did it used to be? Not in funerals specifically, but like how did emotions used to be to where like guys couldn't share like they were going through depression or whatever
I
or
don't think
something
they
like
could
that.
ever like
You
just.
couldn't. Mm-hmm.
I don't think you could ever just say that you felt sad. Really.
Ooh, something I was thinking about the other day is like maybe like people just they felt like it was unimportant, or maybe they didn't have like the time to be sad. Like what if like you
Oh, that's
worked
true.
what if
Yeah.
like you worked like a more hands-on job, and like we were saying those jobs are going away and it's like more office place? Like what
Yeah.
if you worked a hands-on job where you can't just sit around all day and do nothing? Like you
Yeah.
got to get money and feed your family, you got to go out there and get it done.
Very true.
Which is, I mean, still what a lot of people have to do today. I mean,
Yeah.
people still got to go to work, and whatever they're going through, there's a lot of brave people who still get up in the morning and
yeah,
provide for their families.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. It's
I think that
great. Like,
correlates for sure.
yeah, like,
yeah, I think being active and that kind of thing also helps depression though.
Oh,
So if you're
100%.
out and you're doing like an active job, it's going to help reduce your depression. But somebody
mhm.
who their body longs to be active, or they want to be outside doing something, it's just sitting in a cubicle at their desk writing papers for something, they're not going to be as happy as somebody who is outside
Yeah, for
working
sure.
hard, seeing the
Mhm.
benefits of what they're doing. It's hard to
It's hard to
function.
grasp. Yeah.
But I mean,
Yeah.
it's so weird though, because you have to have that in the society we've built. Like you have to have
Yeah.
more. You're gonna have to have more office jobs than you're gonna have warehouse jobs.
Yeah.
So
At
I
least
don't know.
there's gonna, yeah, it's definitely changing the landscape for sure. I
Yeah,
don't
I
know, man.
definitely don't think I could have an office job and just sit there,
I, I don't
which
know,
is
man.
kind of what I'm doing, but it's a cool office. So,
I think for me, I could do that so long as it didn't matter when I did it. Like if I had to sit there from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. At a desk and just work, I couldn't do that. Like I'd have to
Yeah.
space it out in certain ways. And there's actually studies. I don't know the stats at all, but there was some on some standardized tests we took like junior year. There was some article that said there's correlations between people who work like 4 days a week and shorter days got
Mhm.
got more work done than people that work 5 days a week, 40 hours a week, or five
Something
days.
that's
Yeah.
really
I remember that.
interesting is
Hmm.
I don't remember that, but I was watching a video of Netflix's CEO, and Netflix doesn't. You can take as much vacation time a year as you want at
Hmm.
Netflix if you work at Netflix. I was like, what? It's like that can't be right. I looked it up. Completely right. They have no restrictions on days you can take off. You can take off like an entire freaking like 2 months probably if you wanted to.
Yeah.
You're like 4 months out of the year and just take off. I'm like, what?
Very
Yeah.
interesting.
I'm pretty sure
Right.
that's the same thing at American Airlines.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
it. Kind of makes
What if
sense
there
though.
was? Yeah,
But as
I
long as you
was.
get your work done, it's fine. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. I feel like one thing that else could like be making guys like in our society like more depressed probably is people just not feeling like a man because you're working a job that like any person can do with any physical ability. Like there's something interesting about like you feeling like a man when you do something like
yeah, definitely.
athletic.
Yeah, 100%.
Athletic or interest or something
Or,
in that
like
area.
just I think when we did warehouse and like
Yeah.
some of the ladies that worked at the desk would come in and we're like, yeah, we're the men. We're the men here.
Yeah.
Like we try to act
exactly.
tough. Like, what's
What
up?
was
What's
that
up?
girl's name? What was that girl's name?
Grace. Oh, Grace.
Grace.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, they're funny, bro.
She was beautiful, JP.
She was
You missed out.
beautiful.
Missed out on seeing Grace. My
That
bad.
day we had to when the juice truck fell over, or not fell over, but
Oh
all the
yes.
juice, and
And
then
we were,
she came. We're like,
yeah.
yeah, we just did all this. Yeah, what's up? 20,000
And she was
pounds.
like,
It's whatever. You know.
She brought us water, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
You know what it is. Anyways,
I remember that day.
I think especially okay. So when I worked at Dunkin', it was kind of like I didn't feel like as much of a man. If that makes sense. It felt weird working
Mhm.
there, especially
Yeah.
after. No, actually, working at laser tag was a lot more like. Because that was after me working in a warehouse doing physical labor, 8 hours, 8 to 10 hours a day, and then I go
Yeah.
here and I'm teaching kids how to play laser tag.
Yeah.
It was like such a huge jump. I don't know if it's for
Yeah.
better or for worse, but it was so weird. Like I was like, I don't like this. I want a warehouse job now.
Maybe that's why men are getting more soft in our society is because there's less physical jobs to be doing. Like
Yeah,
there's
I think.
something that makes you feel more manly.
Well, I
Maybe
think.
it's like the testosterone
Yeah.
hormones. Maybe it's just you look at other men and you could be like, oh, I could,
It's the competitiveness, the competitive
physically
nature,
dominate or something like that. Yeah, it's
competitive
it's
nature.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I
It's
think that's
crazy.
a big role.
So do y'all think, like, is it a bad thing to be soft? I think it is. If you're a guy, what do y'all think?
Well, which ways? If we're see, you have to define soft
Yeah.
as a man.
Okay.
What do you think? What do we think, guys?
I think
'Cause when it comes-
soft.
I feel like when he says soft, he means like you can't change your own tire, like
Yeah.
that
No,
kind of vibe.
Well, not
I
even
I
that.
disagree.
Well,
No.
like I
Okay,
don't want to
okay.
say soft as in
Not be able to
willing
do
to
those
fight.
things.
I think as in like not being able to stand up for yourself. Soft.
Hmm. Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, if you can't stand up for yourself, then you're kind of screwed
Yeah.
because you will be subjected to bullying.
Because I'm
And-
curious. I want to know how we can like not be as soft individually and as a whole as a society. If y'all have any intake on that input,
Wow. That's a deep question.
thank you.
Honestly, I think just setting the goals that we have and striving every day to work towards them.
Yeah, I think
Mhm.
accountability. That's a big thing.
Because
Having
if you
y'all
know
to-
where you want to be, then you'll be able to get there.
Yeah, for sure.
If you don't know where you want to go, then you're just going to walk in circles. You're just going to stay in that same spot for the rest of your
for
life.
sure. Love it, man.
Yeah.
Love it. So you heard it here first, folks. First place you've ever heard this in your life. If you don't want to be soft, set goals, and have yourself some accountability buddies, some people that
Yeah.
will help you hold yourself accountable.
Yeah.
And,
I don't even think like what you were saying. A lot of people in like society would think a guy who can't change a tire, a guy who looks physically weak is soft, but I don't think it's that at all. Like what you're talking about, not only just being able to stand up for yourself, but also just not conforming to what everybody else thinks too as well. Just being your own person sometimes and
Yeah.
being brave enough to be yourself is something
Being
that can be
That's
independent.
very true. Yeah.
yeah, being independent, that's a good one. I think like not having anyone over you that is really controlling you, that's what can make you feel like a man, and
Yeah.
that's what this is
You want to be top
probably more
dog.
about.
You want to be top dog. That's the
Mm-hmm.
goal.
For sure. And being top dog doesn't mean physical
No, not necessarily.
necessarily at
Yeah.
all. I mean, obviously, if
Yeah,
I think it would help if you're physically, you feel
for
alpha,
sure,
but
but I think that's
let's
changing
feed
in
it
our
in.
society too. You know, I think the physicality aspect of whether it's girls choosing guys to date or whether it's who gets the job, it I think the
Comes down to
physicality,
the brain.
yeah, it's switching out to be people who are mentally strong. I don't know.
I
What does
think
mentally strong mean to you guys? Like, I think standing up for yourself, like you said, Mark's a good one. What else?
just being intelligent in the way you speak, the way you dress, the way you
Mhm.
act. Like you were talking with
I think
posture earlier.
that's kind of a good word, is being
What?
intelligent. Like
Intelligent?
I'm trying to think of how people describe themselves with the way they dress and like the way they
Mm-hmm.
speak and that stuff. And I've never heard intelligent. Well, I have, but like with the way you dress, I don't know. I like that.
Ooh, think about this. Something else. I think I might have mentioned on the last podcast, but there's what I said was I mentioned to you guys is there's nothing more powerful than someone who's articulate. I mean, think of like people who are bosses, who are the world leaders. I mean, if you can be
Mhm.
articulate in your speech and sway people's opinions, be a
For sure.
leader in that aspect, I mean, that's how you can be a like better person,
Yeah,
And
and I think
that's people who can't do that, can't speak up for themselves and be articulate. That's when you view yourself as not a better
well,
person,
that's when
and
you
that doesn't just apply to people who are men. That can be to anyone.
that's when like when you can't stand up for yourself. I'm not articulate. Never mind. Don't listen to me. When you like can't stand up for yourself and you don't try to strive for better, and you can't because of the way I don't know. If you're not articulate, you're gonna find yourself sitting in a 9 to 5 job. I think your
Hmm.
whole life at a desk. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. We need those people in our society, but I don't want to do that. So
Hmm.
that's just
Very
me
good.
though. That's just me. But that's very it's very articulate of you, JP.
Is it now?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Let's hope so.
But I mean the way to be articulate is to read, right?
It's true.
It's very true.
Let's hope so.
So read and
On
Ooh,
it.
I ordered
have
my next book.
what's
Ooh,
your
what's
next
your next
book?
book?
My next book is The Screw Tape Letters by C.S. Lewis.
Oh, I've
Interesting.
heard about this one.
The Screw Tape Letters is about an older demon writing letters to a younger demon on how to be a better demon.
Oh.
It sounds funny.
Yeah.
It's a pretty serious book. It's about spiritual warfare.
Yeah,
basically.
it's serious, yeah, but the
It's
concept
yeah.
of it is kind of silly.
Yeah.
Just 'cause it
So
doesn't seem.
I've been lacking on my book. I gotta get
I hope
reading.
it's good.
What's your book you're reading, Marcus?
I'm reading The
Or-
Right Side of History by Ben Shapiro.
Ah, yes, I remember this.
Yeah.
It's good
I think
so
it's
far.
hard to get into your book, and so you just gotta like start reading. That's what I did, and then after like 30 minutes, you're like, oh wow, I've been reading for 30 minutes.
Yeah, well, I think I don't have the problem when I open the book. I'll keep reading, but I have the problem opening it because I'll sit here at my desk saying I'm doing homework, like I said, and I'll spend hours to do an assignment that takes 20 minutes, and I won't.
Yeah.
I won't give myself time to read. So
Yeah.
that's my problem.
I feel like I kind of do the same thing. So, like, what I've been having to do to read every night is just like compromise doing other things to where
Yeah.
like I don't want to read when I'm tired and I'm not like even like comprehending anything that I'm reading. But
Mhm.
reading right before bed has been really good for me because
Yeah.
one, I'm not looking at my phone, so like I can
Yeah.
fall asleep easier
Yeah.
without being all that blue light. But two, I think it just gives me like a routine, like reading before bed every night.
Yeah.
I've gotten to this routine, and if it means like not being able to watch a movie with my roommates because like they've been watching like all the Marvel movies, and I've been just like, I'm just gonna go read instead.
hmm
It kind of sucks because like I want to hang out with them, but at the same time,
I mean, you're
kinda
putting
have
yourself in a better position.
guys.
So
I think that's something that we can apply to all of us, just with like all of our goals, which
Yeah.
is really good. Just what do we have to sacrifice? What are we gonna have to get rid of?
Mm-hmm.
What are we gonna have to give up in order to complete that goal? In order to work hard to achieve that thing that you want?
For sure.
So JP,
Yeah,
it looks
wait.
like I won't be in Delanago that much because that's what I want to do.
That's what you want to do.
Yeah.
Well, I think hanging out with your friends and maintaining relationships is important.
I know, but I want to like drink.
That's not good.
I know. It's the problem. Anyways, anything else y'all want to add before we close off?
I just wanted to say that I think overall, the idea of quote unquote males getting softer in our society, it can have multiple definitions. I
Mhm.
think one of the main definitions that people like to characterize it as that are critics of our society getting softer is people getting less physical. And whether you think that's a bad or a good thing, I think it's probably true. We are getting less physical because we've learned to compromise more, and
Yeah.
there's a lot more social interaction with the more technology
Mhm.
goes. The social interactions that we have are going to be less physical and face to face, so obviously physical altercations are going to go down.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the other side of what people might say is soft, like opening up about your feelings and stuff, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I think it's good,
I think so too.
especially
Mhm.
because there's so much so much depression and suicide in our culture.
Mhm.
It's something that I don't have a lot of experience with myself, and it's something I can't understand, comprehend. And I feel kind of like bad that I can't have that level of empathy with people, but
Yeah.
for sure I support people that are going through that, and I think it's a good thing
For
that
sure. Yeah.
people are starting to talk about it more, and people are getting the help that they need more and more every day because a lot of companies are bringing it to light.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
For sure. Josiah, anything?
I think JP kind of summed it all up. I don't want to destroy anything he said. So yeah,
I think.
I
Sweet.
think we're good.
Yeah. All right.
I've been liking talking to you guys. You guys are pretty neat.
Thank you, man. I
Pretty
appreciate
nifty,
that.
JP.
You're okay. You're not bad.
Aw, thanks, man.
I'm
Thank
just playing. You're like above average. All right. On that note, JP.
Actually, I wanted to ask you guys real quick.
All right.
How are you like feeling overall with us doing this?
I am.
Like just like
I'm stoked, bro.
I like it.
stoked?
I think
I'm
That's a
stoked.
great word. I was gonna say I'm thriving because that's the word I always
Nah,
use.
you're stoked,
But
JP.
stoked? I'm pretty stoked, man. Like been hitting the gym, been reading more, been talking to you guys,
Be
doing the
stoked and get
podcast.
yoked. That's my
I'm
that's my
I'm
new
pretty
phrase,
stoked.
bro.
Pretty stoked.
I like
I'm
it more when we like talk more during the week though, and
yeah.
have more.
We didn't really do that this week for whatever
Because
reason.
well, I think the topic was just more like do your own
Individual.
research.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just getting on and talking more about
Yeah.
our goals and stuff.
Um.
Did you guys ever get a notebook?
I did. I got
I
3.
did get a notebook,
Okay. I
but
have a
not really
question for
using
y'all.
it.
So I have 3
Question.
notebooks. It cost me
Three.
$1 total. So I have my goals notebook. That's what goals, obviously. Notes, which is gonna be things that I think about during the day. I'll probably carry that one with me everywhere, so that I have it. And then I have one more. I don't know what to do with it. What should I do with my third
I
notebook?
don't think you should force anything. Because if
I
you
know,
try to
but
like
I'm
split
like
it
I'm
into
just trying to
different
think of.
categories, it's hard to organize your thoughts a lot of the
I'm just trying to
times.
think like
If you
what
really wanted to, you could do like a prayer journal because
I
I
could
did
do
that.
that. Yeah.
It's a good
And
one.
there's a complete difference between like reading your prayer or like saying your prayers and then writing them down
Yeah.
and seeing how your prayers change throughout
Ooh, that's very
the time
true.
period.
I'll consider that one for sure.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one, Chiefs.
Very good. So if you
I've
guys
done that before.
have
It's really I enjoy it.
if you guys have a notebook that you need something to do with, there you go. Prayer journal.
All right.
All right. Great
Let's wrap it
talking to
up, boys.
y'all. I don't know what next week's gonna be, but it's gonna be great. You guys are gonna love it so much.
It's gonna be even better than the last 2
even
weeks.
yeah, even better. But this week was kind of a great example of how it's gonna be structured. It's gonna be we'll begin with the goals and then we'll head into our topic and we'll kind of wrap it up.
And if you didn't like this structure, then it's gonna get better next week. So
Yeah,
listen to
exactly.
the
If you liked it, this is exactly how it's gonna go. If you wait. If you liked it, it's good night, everybody.